Monica, Rial.
Hey! Hi, everybody! I've got my 38 drinks, as good ADHDers do. Excuse me. While I set all of those down. How are you, Milo?
I am doing great.
Awesome.
Welcome back to Columbus, right?
Yes,
Have
I
you
have
done this
actually.
before?
I've been here a few times. I came for GalaxyCon, and then I've been here for OhioCon way back in the day, several times. And way back in the day, I actually dated a guy from Columbus, so I've been in Columbus a lot.
How are these fine folks treating you here?
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. I can't see you right now because bright. But you're amazing. And man, you guys have kept me busy, and thank you. But I'm sorry for my lines. I know they can be a little long, but man, everybody wants a doodle, and I love that. And I will give you the best doodle possible. Just know that when you get up to me, I will also give you the best doodle possible.
And I do have to say, when folks have the opportunity to come see you, you definitely spend that time with them, which is, can you tell us a little bit about what these fans mean to you, whether they're dressed as Suyu or dressed as Bulma, and they come and see you, and to see that character that you brought to life and what that means to them, and as they explain that to you, what does that mean to you?
It's still so huge to me. And this is going to sound weird, but I've been doing this for 25 years. It's been a long time. So I kind of grew up doing this. And it's always fascinating to me because to me, I'm just Monica. I'm just Monica. I have this really cool job, and then I get to travel, and I get to talk to you guys. But then as soon as somebody's like, oh, well, you celebrities, I'm like, I'm not that. You guys are silly. I'm just Monica. I just have a weird job. So it's still so weird to me that people come up and are like, it's awesome, but I'm always so overwhelmed, and I never want to downplay your experience, but I'm always like, I can't believe you dressed up as my character. Why me? Oh my gosh, really? And so it's one of those things that I get so tickled still. And I think coming from a background in theater, when you perform a show, at the end, people clap, and you're like, I did a good job. You can go home and sleep well at night. Well, and we can't do that here. Like, we go in and we record individually, so you don't even get to see your castmates. And then at the end, it comes out, and sometimes we forget that you guys then watch it, and it impacts you in some way. And it's really cool to come to the conventions and hear how it has impacted you, or to hear your stories of, like, how it brought you and your family together or your friends together. And that's just really cool to me that we have this sense of community. Even though we may not all know each other very well, there is this community sense, and I love that.
Absolutely, and you've had a lifetime in that, and you are proof that if you out there are watching Dragon Ball Z, My Hero, at this point, that it can literally be a part of your life. Can you talk about how you used to watch Dragon Ball?
Yeah, it's so crazy because my little brother, so my family is from Spain. Yo puedo hablar español. Nobody ever knows that. So we would go over almost every other summer to try and see my grandparents and aunts and uncles. And my brother would wake up very early in the morning. He was very little. And he didn't speak Spanish very well. So he would always wake me up at 7 o'clock in the morning, like, Monica, cartoons are on. You have to come tell me what they're saying. And so there was a soccer anime. And then The Littles, you remember the old cartoon, The Littles? They had that on, and then there was this show called Las Bolas de Dragón. And I was like, okay, what is this show about? Oh, okay, they're just fighting and yelling at each other. So I always joke that I've played every voice in Dragon Ball before I was ever a part of Dragon Ball. Because I would sit on my grandmother's couch like, okay, he says blah, 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 and then he says blah, 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 blah. And that's how my brother experienced Dragon Ball. I'm amazed that he's still a fan. But yeah, it was so weird all those years later to then be a part of it. It was very, very surreal and a really cool big sister moment to be able to tell my brother, like, hey, you know that show you love? I'm going to be in it. So it's really cool.
I mean, that's,
really
that's
cool.
so cool. And then, of course, your own loves as a child, of course, one being Hello Kitty.
Oh my God. I am such a Sanrio nerd, you guys. My best friend, one of my best friends growing up was Japanese, and her parents were divorced, so she would go every summer to Japan. And she would bring me back the cutest stuff. They lived in the house behind us, so my dad built a ladder so that we could climb over the fence without hurting ourselves. And I remember there was one day I climbed over the fence to go over to Miki's house, and she had this bag for me. And normally they'd been like geisha dolls and stuff, and this was the first time she had brought some Hello Kitty stuff. And I was like, what is this? What is this stuff? What are these little twin stars? Why is everything sparkly and cute and pink? And why do I want to eat it even though it's plastic? What is this? And she's like, oh, it's Sanrio, and it's really big in Japan. And so I fell in love with Hello Kitty, and that became my thing. And my very first job ever was at a Sanrio store in the mall, and I was 15 years old. Because I could speak Spanish, they were like, oh, we need somebody who speaks Spanish. I'm like, yo puedo hablar español. And so I worked there at 15. And so then when we got the auditions for Hello Kitty's animation theater, I'm like, there's no way.
So yeah, so when you are auditioning for something, and obviously that has to be like so close to your heart, you're like, how do you not build that up where you know that disappointment may happen, but you don't want to be disappointed, like you want this?
It's so hard because I have a thing that I do, and my partner says it's negative, but I don't think it's negative. I think that when you're an actor, you have to kind of do this, and that is when I audition for something, I forget about it.
Okay.
I'm like, if I get it, cool, but I'm going to assume I didn't. Not to be negative, but just because if I do get it, I'm going to be so happy. But if I think I got it and then I don't get it, I'm going to be crushed. So it's more of like, do it and forget it. And then if it comes back around, great. Because that way I have a tendency to overthink things. And so if I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get it, I always put myself going into the audition. But then as soon as that audition's over, I'm like, bye, don't think about it. So that was one of those. First of all, they joked with me because they were like, they knew that I really wanted to audition and how much I loved Hello Kitty. So they kept joking with like, oh, you missed the audition. I'm like, what? Thanks, guys. I'm very gullible. And so finally, when we had the audition, I just kind of forgot about it. And when they called me, it was the first audition that I went to where I was actually shaking. And they called me and told me, and I burst into tears because I'm like, what a weird childhood dream come true.
Absolutely.
But it was so much fun. And now I have every excuse to buy every Hello Kitty thing. I'm like, hey, I voiced the kitty, so I can have the toaster. Why not?
Do you have
Do.
like a shrine or things, a room of characters and things like that you've voiced?
Well, we moved into our house a year ago, but life has been so crazy. We haven't actually like moved into our. Does that make sense? There's still boxes and stuff. So in my office, one thing that is also my studio, one thing that I've been talking about doing forever is doing, instead of a wallpaper, using the art that I've gotten from you guys over the years and like actually creating a wall paper out of the art that I've received from fans over the years. And then, but I also get so much still that I'm like, I want to find a way that I can like change it out so that sometimes if I want to look at something else, I can change it. So I'm still kind of playing around with ideas. But yeah, I definitely want, you guys are so awesome and you bring me so many awesome things. I want to make sure that it's in a place where I can see it. And especially like, if you're going to go in and do your job, what better than to see all of this love and be like, hey, this is why I do this.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned, coming from a theater background. And one of the things that's popular right now is bringing television shows, pop culture television shows, and movies to Broadway. Back to the Future, Mean Girls, things like that.
There's a Back to the Future music?
Yes, it's amazing.
I didn't know that. I'm so out of touch.
Is there a project that you have done, let's say if there could be an anime musical, is there a show that you would like to see done on a musical scale?
Well, we did do a show that has a couple of seasons called Show by Rock. Yes, it's so cute. It's another Sanrio. I'm sorry, y'all. I have a thing. But Show by Rock is a story about a young girl who wants to be in a band, but she's too shy. So she gets isekai'd into another world where she's in this world where everybody's kind of a animal-human hybrid. And so she finds these girls that are in a band, and they're like, "Hey, we need you. Come join our band." And they have these battle of the bands against other bands. So there's like a dude metal band, and what was so much fun is that we got to do all the songs. So we actually sang all of the songs and everything. So I'm like, that one already has. It's already ready to go. You could do Show by Rock the musical. But I think that Dragon Ball would make a fun musical just because.
I think that would be amazing.
As long as you get to keep Sean and Chris, because I want to see them sing and throw kamehamehas at each other. It'd be great.
Speaking of music, I've noticed a few things during my time on the convention scene, and one is that, as you mentioned, when you audition for shows, sometimes you do it and you forget about it, set it, forget it. And I don't want to say it's the same way sometimes when you do actual gigs, right? But I know a lot of times somebody will come up to you and say, "Hey, I loved you in so and so." You're like, I completely forgot about that. But another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of anime show names sound like Fall Out Boy songs. So I've comprised a little game that I'd like to play. And these are either titles of projects that come from your IMDb or Fall Out Boy songs.
Oh my gosh.
So we can use audience help if you need to.
I like
the
it.
first one is going to be, let's see which one. Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody.
That is 100% an anime I've been in.
Okay, all right.
I'm probably going to win this just because I have a weird thing about the shows I'm in. Like, I know most of them, except when you get into the simul-dub, so you might get me.
Okay, all right. The next one. My Heart is the Worst Kind of Weapon.
That has to be Fall Out Boy because I have not been in that show.
What do you all think? Fall Out Boy.
Yay!
All right, we got to go.
Although that would be a cool show.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
they all sound like.
They do.
From now on, we are enemies.
That would be Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy. All right, and the last one. Snow White with the red hair.
That is definitely an anime.
You did way, way better than Christopher Sabat. 100% better than Sabat.
I totally believe that because most of the time he looks at me and goes, "Was I in that?" Yes, sir, you were in that. It's so weird, though, because I tell people all the time, I could not tell you what I had for breakfast this morning, but I have this weird part in my brain that is just programmed for anime. And so, like, I can tell you about shows I've done all the way back, but now because of the simul-dubs, because we're moving so fast, it's a little harder. That and I'm older. There's not as much space in my brain.
Would you like to take some questions from our audience?
Yeah, let's
All right, so if
do
you have
it.
questions, please feel free to line up. Be careful. No elbows, no elbows. Be civilized. All right, all right. Hello, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Sarah. Hi again, Monica.
Good to see you.
You too. So my question is what's the most emotional scene you've recorded so far? Or top 5, I don't know if you can pick one.
I know, there's so many. I can give you a top 5. Mira Jane's first transition into Satan Soul. The entirety of the Death Parade episode that I did, that one was intense. Oh my gosh, I know that there's so many more. Princess 9, I'm going to throw it way back. I had some really, there was an episode where she goes to another character's bed and is like, "You have to get better." Those are the top 3. I know there's other ones, but I would say those are definitely the top 3. Mira is definitely the one that pops up. I would say Mira Leona, but she's not really emotional. She's just loud. Good question, though.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had to think.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Lexi. My question for you is there a character or an experience that has impacted you in your voice acting career more than you thought it was going to attend to?
Oh, my goodness. You guys have the good questions today. I'm really going to have to pay attention. Gosh, an experience or a character? Okay, I'm going to throw it way back. Sarah may be the only person who knows what show I'm talking about. There's a show called Razafon, and it's fantastic. And it's an older show. And if you guys haven't seen it, I don't even know where you would find it. But it is basically, it's based on the same folktale as Neon Genesis Evangelion. So it's kind of along the same vein, but it's more character-driven. And that character, I was the same age as she was at the time. And she was reacting off of a character that I had a very personal relationship with the actor that was playing that character. So that just kind of hit me in like oh, I can use my real life. Like up until then, I thought as an anime actor, like I have to put myself in these really wild, crazy situations. Like, okay, what is it like to be in a burning car that's in an avalanche on the, I can do that. But to make it more personal, I hadn't figured out how to do that yet. And Razafon was the first show where I was like, oh, I can pull from my own experiences and my relationships with the people that I have off screen and use that on screen. And I think that show became so much better as a result of the relationship that Chris Patton and I have been dear friends forever. And I think that that is what taught me, like, oh, the people that you know better and that you've actually got a relationship off screen with will actually sound better on screen. It's kind of like why I'm always with Christopher Sabat or why I'm always with Lucy. It's because when you have friendships off screen, it really, really transfers to the screen. And I didn't realize until Razafon. So Razafon was a big one for me.
Thank you so
Good
much.
question. Thank you.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi there, my name is Ricky, and my question is, so you have been in the voice acting game for a while now, and I would like to know, in your personal opinion, what with, the whole pandemic thing happening just a few years ago, it's been clear that there's been a bit of a shift in how voice acting works and stuff. It used to be done in studios, now it's a little more at home and stuff. I don't know. I guess what I want to ask is, in your personal opinion, how do you think that the voice acting industry has been impacted, especially going forward now that, like, again, home studios and things are now more focused and stuff? Just what's your take?
That's a great question. I think that what was really cool about the pandemic um, was that even though it sucked and we hated being away from everybody, it really pushed those of us that maybe didn't have the best home setup to really focus on, okay, if you want to work during the pandemic, you're going to have a decent home studio. And when I say home studio, I don't mean like multi hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm meaning like a good closet with some nice foam and a good microphone, like whatever you have to do to get by. When you're starting out, certainly don't spend the money, and then as you go along. But I think unfortunately, what happened is during the pandemic, we had all of these wonderful actors. All of the studios were very open to using people from all over, which kind of opened the door for anybody that was interested in voice acting. Like, hey, I don't have to live in Dallas. I don't have to live in LA. And I thought that was brilliant because if you listen to some of those shows we did during the pandemic, there were folks from all over the globe. Like we had people from Australia, people that were in Europe. And it added a certain sense to the show. Like there was a different quality to it because it was like, oh, we brought all these people together. And then for whatever reason, now Crunchyroll wants people to come in. And Sentai still does some remote, but not as much. I find that the LA studios are the ones that do more remote than we do in Texas. The only thing that disappoints me about that decision is that Crunchyroll has decided that people have to come in-house. And that makes me sad because there were so many phenomenal actors that we worked with that we can't now. So I'm hoping that maybe in the future they will open that back up again to people that, don't live in the city or the state that might be interested in voice acting, because there's no reason that everybody shouldn't have an opportunity to do it. I mean, we obviously have the technology. I don't know, maybe Crunchyroll just wants to show off their new offices. I don't know.
Okay.
But I certainly hope it goes in that direction so that it's more open to everybody.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, my question happens to be Razafon related.
Hey, that's perfect.
Yeah, but your character, you played a person whose voice is like more, I guess, mature sounding than what you would usually do. And I guess I was gonna ask, like, is there any like other roles that like have that like type of voice?
Yes, that have like the more adult voice. So what ended up happening when I was at ADV, I never really played the high-pitched character because there's a lovely lady named Hillary Haig. And Hillary was always the baby. And so I was always like the older sister, whatever. And then I went to Funimation and they were like, we don't have anybody to do high-pitched voices, so you're going to play all of the children for years. So it's funny if you actually listen to interviews and stuff with me from way back in the day, my voice was actually lower back then than it is now. So anybody that tells you you can't train your voice, you 100% can, because like 8 to 9 years of talking like this has created the voice that you hear now. But I have quite a few now. So now that we have folks like Sarah Wiedenhaft and Tia and all of them that can do the baby voices, I now get to do stuff like, well, Sui Uasui, of course, is a little different. Mara Leona Vermilion is probably the most mature and ridiculous of my voices. But yeah, I've gotten to do quite a few. Umi Hebi and Snow White with the red hair. I'm playing Tomoe in Moonlit Fantasy, Tsukamichi Moonlit Fantasy. Yeah, there's quite a few more. I'm in the new Rick and Morty in an episode as like a sultry kind of lady.
Spoilers.
So yeah, there's some stuff. It's out there, I promise.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi,
What's your
you
name?
look adorable.
Do you have like holy I just forgot my question.
You're all
Okay.
good.
okay.
You're so good.
Do you have like the first character you voice acted? How do you get to voice act them? Like,
Like, did I audition or?
like, did you just like find it online and then walk into a studio and start auditioning?
Oh gosh, I wish it was that easy. I will say this. So when I started, it was way back in the day, right? Nobody really knew anything about anime. In fact, back then they called it Japanimation. And then usually if you said, "Oh yeah, I work," and they're like, "Oh, Japanimation," I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, you mean porn?" And I'm like, "No."
What?
But that's what they assumed because you'd go to a club and that's what they're playing. I was like, "No, that's not what I do." So bad. So for me, I really didn't know. I knew what anime was because my brother was a fan, and obviously, like being in Spain and stuff. So I knew what it was. I think I knew at that point that the stuff that I had been watching growing up was anime. But for me, I never really thought about that being a job. I mean, I'm sure I knew that animated characters don't speak from themselves. I'm sure I knew that there was a voice, but I never thought about it being a career. So it wasn't until I was doing a play with Jason Douglas, who plays Beerus. He's phenomenal. But he's the reason I'm a voice actor, because he was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing, and it's here in Houston, and they're dubbing, animation from Japan into English." And I'm like, "Anime? You're working on anime in Houston? Where?" And he's like, "ADV Films." And so I went and auditioned, and it just kind of went from there. But any of you guys that are aspiring voice actors, I will say, like, I am not the person to come to and be like, "How do I do it?" Because that was so long ago. Like, my advice would be like, "Oh, burn a CD and mail it in." No, don't do that. They'll be like, "Hey, grandma." But definitely ask some of the younger guys like Zach Aguilar and those guys. They will definitely help you with that if you have questions.
Also, shit, my voice sounds so bad.
Oh,
I am actually an aspiring voice actor. I have 8 roles.
oh, that's awesome.
I'm-
Congratulations.
I'm dubbing a few Do you know how I can get into like bigger voice acting? I'm already doing it.
Well, if you already have roles behind you, probably the best thing you can do is just put yourself out there more. Like any websites you have, like create a demo from stuff that you've done, which is just a minute long, little snippets so that they can hear your voice. Make sure you're not doing any voices that already exist in the world, like no Meatwad, no Gollum, no, they want to hear what you sound like. And then you just kind of shop it around, shop it out to different studios. Talk to talent agents, because talent agents exist in every city in the United States. Talk to talent agents, and they will be the ones that can get you into the bigger auditions, which it sucks that has to be the case. But one thing I will say too with talent agents, just so everybody knows, if a talent agent ever asks you to pay them money, run. That's not how they work. Talent agents are supposed to get you jobs, and then you give them a percentage of what you're paid. But I know there's a lot of scams out there right now because there are so many people that want to be on camera and want to be voice actors that they'll take your money and then be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about." So yeah, don't ever give them money.
Also, I do. I have a role a lot like that sounds a lot like your voice.
Which one? I would love to hear it.
It's not one of the bigger ones. I'm doing a read through of a comic, Homestuck.
Oh, cool.
It's Terezi. I don't.
Homestuck, yeah, that's been around for a while.
Yeah, it was like peaking in 2011. It ended in 2016. Started in 2009, April 13th. John.
Yeah, it used to be at every convention you would
Yep.
see people in gray.
Great trolls with candy corn horns.
Well, good job. Just keep it up, girl. Keep it up. Keep going.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
I'm
much.
so sorry for taking so long.
No, you're good. You're good.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Danny, and I have a question.
Yeah.
It's what is the hardest voice that you have done so far?
Ooh, the lower ones are obviously harder just because like when I'm playing Marileona, I have to like breathe and they have to cut it out, which is a little weird, but yay, engineers. They're awesome. They're the secret heroes that nobody knows about. But I would say taxing wise, there are two characters that come to mind. One is from a game called Tales of Berseria, where I play Bienfu, and he's fantastic, and he says Bien! But, oh my gosh, if you talk like this forever, it starts to hurt. And then the other one is from D. Gray Man. I play Lero, Rhodes Umbrella. And Lero talks like this. Hello, Lero. How are you doing? So, yeah, those two. Chris Sabat did a really horrible thing to me. He was recording me on D. Gray Man, and Lero had a countdown or count thing, and it didn't have an end. It was just like 1, 2, 3, Lero. And so I was sitting there going, 1, Lero, 2, Lero. And I just kept going, thinking he's going to tell me when to stop. I think I got up to like 35, Lero, and he was like, screw you, Christopher. Good question, though. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love that I can see y'all when you're at the microphone, but everybody else
right.
is like,
I know I'm trying to like. So we have about 15 minutes left, but I'm pretty sure we can get through everybody.
yes.
Hello. What's your name?
My name is John Leone. Do you mind if I film?
Oh, no, you're fine to film.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hi. So my name is John Leone. We met yesterday.
Yes, I remember.
I am also an aspiring voice actor. I've been taking some classes.
Awesome.
Thank you. I finished one in June, and I'm taking the more advanced one now.
Oh, cool.
Thank you. My current teacher is Danny Jacobs, and my first one was Lisa Jesswayne.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you. And I remember yesterday you actually gave me some advice for your someone who's just trying to break into the voiceover industry. And I remember one of the things you said was maybe take a singing course, or and the other one was just sort of don't try to impersonate people, right?
Yeah, like the best thing you can do, because I think a lot of times people are like, I can do voices. Watch, I can do Mickey Mouse, and I can do, which is all fantastic. And that does prove that you have a talent at that. But usually, they want to hear what your voice sounds like. They want you to come up with whatever you can create. So it's
And
a
those
good
roles
idea.
are taken already.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, unless something happens to those guys, which no, then otherwise. But they just want to hear what your voice can do.
And I believe you also told me something another thing too as well.
Improvisation.
Improvisation, yes.
Yes. Everybody
Yeah.
hates it when I say that, but it's true. I know that getting up in front of people and doing improv is very scary, but it teaches you to be quick on your feet. And one of the reasons I tell you guys that are aspiring voice actors is because a lot of times if you finish early, they'll walk you around and be like, hey, do you need Monica for anything? And sure enough, there'll be some director that's like, yeah, I need a dog in episode 3. And then you'll go down to the next one. They're like, oh, yeah, can you play this grandma that just lost her kid? And then so you're just getting tossed around. And there's not enough time to be like, what is my motivation? What am I doing? So it's literally, you just have to jump in there and do the thing. And so improv helps you a lot with that, with being able to create characters really quickly.
Thank you. And I also love hearing your voices for Nano and Kaede Kaino.
Thank you.
You-
I've been very lucky. I get to voice all the badasses. I don't know how that happened, but I'm just going to keep. I hope it continues.
Maybe you have a machine gun in your arm. Like if you take your hand off, you start.
Yeah, exactly. Doing Nano.
Exactly. You have an invisible key on your back.
I mean, luckily it's hidden right now. We're good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No
Thank
problem.
you,
You had the
hon.
smaller one that Hakase made.
Oh, gosh, yeah, Hakase. It's been fun being next to her this weekend, though.
Yes.
Jade and I were in a show together called Nichijou, and we're right next to each other. So there's been a lot of Nichijou love this weekend.
Mhm.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Those are
much.
fun. I love Nichijou.
It's such a great show. If you guys haven't seen Nichijou, My Ordinary Life, I highly suggest it.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, my name is Danielle. I just had a quick question. So, Tanya the Evil, great show, awesome drama, just an awesome show. What was it like having to do Isekai Quartet, having Tanya transplanted into like
It was so
normal
much fun.
everyday life, and also being a middle-aged man inside of a little girl's body?
It was such a weird dynamic because I love the Saga of Tanya the Evil so much.
So good.
And I'm waiting. Just know that me and the director and everybody up there are like, when do we get more? We love it. And I really want to go to war with Tia. I know I've told you guys that, but I'm like, it just would be so great. But yeah, going into Isekai Quartet, which was a comedy, was very weird at first because I'm like, she's awful. How is she going to work in this comedic situation? I think that the writing was brilliant. I love that she teamed up with Ainz Ulgon from Overlord. Thank you. And I love that they kind of became their own little pair. So it was super, super fun. I hope we get more of it someday.
Her shopping for bathing suits, that whole scene was just great.
I know.
So, yeah.
It was just so fun to see such a dramatic character, or such an awful character, and such a fun dynamic. So yeah, I had a blast. Absolutely
you.
had a blast. Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, you remember me?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Luke. I'm gonna ask a Dragon Ball related
Go
question.
for it.
So the late Toriyama, Toyotaro, they both love to experiment with Bulma's design. I want to know what your favorite look of hers is throughout like all the series, like Super, GT, Z, any of those.
Okay, I'm gonna tell on myself a little bit. Y'all have seen the Broly movie?
Oh,
I
is it
call
the-
that her MILF outfit. Because it's like the little short shorts, and she's got the open jacket with the bra and the chains and the tennis. That's my favorite. Because she looks like she just came from shopping, but she's also like this lady that's like, yeah, I'm a badass. Get out of my way. Like, here, God of Destruction, here's my child. I'm going to go with those guys. So I think that's my favorite. My second would definitely be the afro. I love the fro and the outfit. I think that's so cute. And I do love like the super cowboy look, just because I've thought like if I was ever going to cosplay, that'd be so easy being from Texas. I could find that anywhere. But I have to say there was something really fun about the new movie and her yellow jumpsuit, especially when her butt took up the whole screen.
For like 5
I was
seconds.
like, I was not ready for that. It was a lot of fun. I went to go see the movie without letting anybody know because I wanted to see the audience reaction. So I like went and I thought I was being stealthy. I was just kind of keeping to myself and got to experience it. It was super cool. And then as I was leaving, there was a group of people that were like, bye, Monica. I'm like, bye. Can't believe you knew it was me. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got to see that movie in IMAX.
Oh, it's so much fun. I feel like they keep getting better and better. And I love that Bulma gets funnier and funnier as we go along.
Yeah, can't wait to see Daima.
I can't either. We're waiting. We can't wait. Thank you so much, Luke.
No problem.
Cannot wait.
Hello.
Hello there.
What was your favorite scene of voice acting Misaki Aizawa from Maid Sama?
Oh my goodness. I love Maid Sama. What was my favorite scene? Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think you know the scene that I'm talking about where we're all like, finally! That was pretty awesome. But I have to tell you, I really love working with David Matrenga, who played Usui. He's also Todoroki in My Hero and a bunch of other stuff. And he and I used to like be in Houston and do theater together way before any of this was a thing. So it's really, really cool whenever I get to act opposite him. So honestly, I'm going to say the entirety of Maid Sama was my favorite because we had so much fun recording that show. And I'm so glad that you guys like felt that love and that fun came through and that you guys enjoy it so much because we had a blast recording that show. Good
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
You look awesome.
My name is Kyrie, and I know that you played, I forget her name.
That's okay. What show?
My Hero Academia.
See you also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. What was your favorite part of voice acting in that show?
Ooh. Yeah, there's a lot that I love. I will say, as far as content goes, like the actual show, I really did enjoy having my own episodes. I thought that was kind of fun because, sometimes Suyu doesn't get to do as much, so it was kind of fun for her to have the spotlight for a bit. Other than that, I don't want to give any spoilers, but she did something in the new season. Like, she's got some stuff in the new season that I was like, those for you, yes, girl power. So she's got some fun stuff coming. But I think what I love most about Suyu is her heart. Like, she's got such a good heart, and she cares so much about her friends. And I will say, Colleen Klinkenbeard, who plays Momo and is the director, she did such a great job casting because all of us we're a lot like our characters. If you look at J. Michael Tatum and Ida, they are the same person. He literally moves like this. So I think she did such a great job in casting, and I would do anything for my friends, and that's the one thing that Suyu and I totally have in common, and that's what I love about her more than anything.
Okay, thank
you.
So we got 1, 2, 3. I think we can get through. We
can do it.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it.
We can do it. I will talk faster.
Speed
and
round.
not ramble.
Hello.
Hey, my name's Cameron. Is it okay if I record real quick?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
fine. Y'all can record me. I'm not a stickler for that.
Okay. You sound like so many characters that I know and love. I'm just asking, was there like a certain point in time where you got like two characters mixed up while you're trying to do like a line or something?
All the time, my friend. So we are very lucky in the studio. They do something that's called a reference line.
Mhm.
So whenever the director thinks you're in like peak voice, like, okay, that voice is perfect, we're going to hold on to that, and those will be your reference lines. So for shows like, Fairy Tale's coming back, and we haven't done that in 8 years.
Mhm.
So they will play reference lines to be like, this is what you sounded like 8 years ago. Good luck matching it. But for a while, like at Funimation, especially a couple years back, we were working on so many things. And it was at a time when I was working on Panty and Stocking and Index.
Yes.
So I was going from playing a horrible angel to a literal nun. And I was having to go between the two. And even though they're totally different characters, I would constantly get the two mixed up because they're just a little bit off from each other. But yeah, there were several times where they'd be like, no, this is the bad one, not the nun. This is the one with the 4-letter words, not the nun. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it happens all the time. Luckily, the references, they save us. But yeah, we mix up all the time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, hi.
Hello.
Toga!
Hello.
Hello.
How about just a thing? Oh, there we go. So my name's Biscuit. One of my questions was like, does your voice acting ever just bleed into like day-to-day life? Like, since you have to say ribbit after almost every sentence Sue says, do you just like go home and just say ribbit after some sentences?
Well, it's not so much the ribbit. I will tell my partner. He watched all of My Hero in a Weekend because he was like, I just want to see what it's about. And then he got hooked and he watched the whole thing. And while I was gone, he texted me. He was like, Suyu saying adorable is like the epitome of that word. So whenever he's having a bad day, I can look at him and go, you're so adorable. And he's like, oh. And so he squeezes and like he smiles. He's like, oh, I can't be mad now. So I do use her voice for my own purposes. I used to when I was working on Black Butler. I thought it was really funny to go through the drive-thru and be like, hello, I would like chicken nuggets and maybe yes, a Coke. But I would do it all in the voice, and then I'd drive up to the window in my normal voice. And people are like looking at my car, like, where's the crazy lady? Like they're all standing there looking for the crazy lady. I'm like, hi, how are you? It's just some static.
Guys, what crazy lady?
But yes, we definitely use our powers for evil sometimes.
Oh, I love that. I ribbit every now and then after like a couple of sentences. That's kind of like a stim.
You gotta have your thing, man.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
question. Yes, ribbit.
Hello.
Hello. Now.
Hello. My name's Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi. I asked this question of Chris back at Motor City Comic Con, and I just wanted to get your reaction to it.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Okay. At the end of the Cell games, can you tell me why Vegeta had to get some new clothes? I think she
Why did
knows.
Vegeta have to get some new clothes? It was probably my fault, honestly.
No.
Probably had something to do with Bulma. Yeah, I'm gonna say it was probably my fault. You gotta she's gotta have control over that man in some way or another. And if it's gotta be the clothes, it'll be the clothes. You cannot tell me that he bought that bad man outfit on his own.
Right.
In fact, Chris's whole theory on that is that bad man outfit was actually Yamcha's that he left at Bulma's house. And that's why Vegeta got stuck in it, which is possible. Who knows?
Well, actually, the correct answer is because he had a hole in his trunks.
That's better. I like that.
Thank
I'm
you so
gonna have to tell Chris and see if he remembers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so it looks like we got three left. All right. Hello.
Hey, Power.
Hi, I'm not as tall. Sorry.
You're good.
Thank you, thank you. I won't take up too much of your time.
You're good.
I know you do a lot more professional stuff nowadays, but back in the day or even now, has there ever been an inside joke or an off-camera reference that you've done that has been so funny that's made it into one of your shows?
Panty and stocking as a whole. There's a lot of little, because it's me and Jamie and we're best friends, and once we knew we were cast in it, we started to kind of like put little things in there as like little nods to each other and little inside jokes and stuff. I can't think of any like off the top of my head, but I know just that whole thing. If there's ever anything that doesn't make sense, that is why. Ghost Stories too. There's so many inside jokes in there. Like Obi-Wan Frosty like there's just so many ridiculous jokes and stuff. I'd have to sit down. In fact, that might be fun at a con to do like a live streaming so I can be like, this is what this means. That's what that means. But yeah, we try to, back in the day especially, we would try to leave in little nods at each other. So
Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
got me into anime, so you're my idol. I absolutely love all your work. Thank you.
so much.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Joe. I have the first name equivalent of throwing in the towel.
Oh.
So my question would be, if there was any piece of ongoing media that you could get in on, what would it be?
Marvel.
Yeah, you just want to be in the MCU?
I don't know why. So I'm not a comic book person just because it was never my thing. And I was never really a Marvel person until the pandemic came around. And I had seen like the Avengers and I'd seen Iron Man because I love Robert Downey Jr. So I'd seen some stuff, but then somebody during the pandemic told me to watch WandaVision. And I was so intrigued by the premise and how each episode had a different. So I'm just a big fan of what they've done as far as making comic books accessible to the masses and having somebody like me that would probably never pick up a comic book. Now I know who all of those characters are and who my favorites are. So that would probably be the one that I'd want.
That's cool. Thank you very much.
Of course.
All right, last question. Hello.
Hi. My name's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
This kind of happens to be based off of Ghost Stories. Just happened to come up. I
Go
didn't think
for
it was
it.
going to. So Ghost Stories was very outlandish, to put it one way. Do you think there should be more shows like that now, or do you think there should be where that has a place in the market? And like it feels like it kind of ended up being on YouTube, like the dub.
It was
and
a weird.
other,
That
like,
was a
Team 4-Star
weird.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like
It was a weird catalyst for Ghost Stories because it had to be the right place at the right time and the right circumstances. And I think that because we wanted to make it the equal opportunity offender, we wanted to offend everybody. It was done in like 2004, 2005. So, and now we're much more politically aware and we don't make those kinds of jokes. So I think that's partially what appeals to people is they're like, oh, you can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
So I think part of that is what makes it funny. So it's hard to say, like we even joked if the rights were still available about buying the rights and doing Ghost Stories 2 Electric Boogaloo to the same animation. But I don't know that it would ever hit the same way. You know, it was just one of those things kind of like the Rocky Horror movie where it's like everything just happened to be and now it's a cult classic. So I think it just kind of hit all the right tones. If anybody's ever up for it, though, I would totally be game to try again because I had such a blast. But yeah, I don't know that we could strike lightning like that again. It was just a weird circumstance. But I'm glad that you guys love it so much, and Jesus loves you.
Any last words for our great folks here in Columbus?
You guys are awesome. I can't thank you enough. I always have a great time in Ohio, but seriously. And I know that you guys are from Indiana and everywhere else too. People have been coming from all over. Thank you guys. So I know Michigan, there's a lot of y'all from Michigan. Thank y'all so much. And definitely stick around because you've got some really great people coming on after me.
One more time, please give it up for Monica Rial.